Where are we with Mr. Chansiri? He's turned down the American consortium last week. You know, think of that what you will. He knows the wanted his £5 million down payment or £140 million valuation, or you'll know better than me, Kieran. We don't have a transfer embargo, but we have a fee limitation across 4 transfer windows that could take you up to 2027, which sounds a lot like a transfer embargo to me, Mr. Maguire. He's very honest. He's very emotional. But it's an absolute mess, and we need a sale for the Wednesday fans, or they're going to get relegated, aren't they? They're just going to. It's going to be like they're in administration all year. They can't sign any players. Nothing's going to happen, and all the good players are going to leave. They're going to want out. It's not going to be good for Wednesday. What are your thoughts going into 25-26 on Sheffield Wednesday and Mr. Chansiri?
Well, in the most recent set of finances, which is for 23-24, Sheffield Wednesday had the 4th lowest wage budget in the Championship, but players are still earning considerable amounts of money.
He's a good manager, that Danny Roll, isn't he? Eh?
He is a good manager, that Danny Roll. So Sheffield Wednesday punched above their weight. I think the fans are aware of it. The fans acknowledge that. Danny Roll deserves a lot of credit for that. If you take a look at the clubs that have been promoted, Birmingham have come up. They will have a top half budget. Wrexham have been promoted. They will have a top half budget. And Charlton, I think, the third one, they will have a decent budget as well. So I'm not being critical here. When it was Rotherham and Yeovil and clubs that have been promoted to the Championship, and Burton Albion, historically, they had done an amazing achievement to get to the Championship. The Championship next season is going to be incredibly competitive, and it's difficult to see how Sheffield Wednesday will, under the present regime, will have anything other than a bottom 3 wage budget. And as far as their recruitment of signing players is concerned, the position of the EFL is that the other clubs in the Championship have paid their wages on time. The other clubs have paid HMRC on time.
And this is not just the players, Kieran. This is to other staff working at Hillsborough, yeah?
Yeah, and this is where any sympathy I have for Dejan Chansiri, and have to excuse my language here, I always say that there's 2 types of bad owners. There are idiots and there are arseholes. And I genuinely think that Dejan Chansiri is not an arsehole. He's not trying to antagonise Sheffield Wednesday fans. I think he's very naive. I think he's very inexperienced. I don't think he's trusted people, or I don't think he's put people into the right place in the club, which has allowed the potential of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club to be leveraged to being a more successful team. And he doesn't listen. And listening is a skill of senior management, in my view.
And Kieran, sorry, this is all with the backdrop of millions on Jordan Rhodes and Forestieri and Gary Hooper and whoever, and losing in the playoff final, 1 game away from the 100 million TV money, and not great since, basically.
And that's one of the wonderful things about football. That's one of the tragic things about football, is that it is a gamble. There is jeopardy. That's part of the reason why we love it. Even though I'm not a fan of either Sunderland or Sheffield United, I was in London on the day of the playoff final, and I was very privileged. I was invited to attend the final. So that was very kind of something. I didn't actually manage to make it, but I was in London, and even talking to the fans of both clubs afterwards, you sense the enormity of the occasion. And what else in life is that significant outside of what we truly consider to be important in life, which is our families and our loved ones and health and so on? Football is this classic, the most important of the unimportant things in life. So Dejan Chansiri could have been a hero. but he didn't get there. Since then, I think his public proclamations to fans have antagonised them. I do feel, as an outside observer, that he should have got some good people surrounding him.
At least doing his emails for him. Come on.
Yes, yeah.
So Kieran, if a knight in shining armour comes along to buy Sheffield Wednesday, how long would that take though? Because surely even if that person comes along, we're recording here on June the 30th and, you know, we're essentially embargoed for the first transfer window and they might not be quick enough to keep Danny Roll. How quickly do we need something to happen here?
Football is an emotional industry, and you can get fairly positive vibes very, very quickly. You've only got to look at what's happened at Birmingham City. Birmingham, again, I think it's fair to say, had a poor owner, and on the back of that, they got relegated to League One as Knights Head Capital were coming in. But everybody I know who's a Blue is bouncing.
They're an excitable bunch at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, and you as a football romantic, you've got to be really pleased for them. You know that Villa have done really well, and it must be galling to be a Blues fan. So things can turn around if you create the right environment, if you get a good start to the season, and so on. But I think it is going to be very difficult. We don't know what the reaction of the EFL will be to prospective new owners coming in. There certainly have been bids. Those bids have not matched the valuation of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club that Dejan Chansiri has given. I've done my own sums. I think there's a significant gap between the figures that he apparently is quoting and what's been offered. And I think the first offers that I've seen come in, which I think were probably in the region of just over £40 million, I don't think that's a million miles off what the club is probably worth, given that you are inheriting a Hillsborough, which is a mess, which has been, which suffered from lack of TLC, a lack of investment for many, many years, and needs a significant spruce up. Going back to Birmingham City and their new owners, they seem really keen to invest in the infrastructure there. So it can be done, but it's timing in football is just as important as timing in politics and timing in comedy, and times aren't good at present for Wednesday.
No, get involved on that one in the comments. I know we've spoken a lot about it, but it's interesting to get Kieran's take as a bit more of an expert than me, just ranting and hoping for the best for the poor old Wednesday fans. Right.
Hi, it's Kieran Maguire here. Thanks very much for watching that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, click on the link.